are you?
Okay.
So welcome everyone to 10 Reasons Why People Hate Your Website. My name is Susan Day and I'm here for Bill Ballou. So today's topic is really about what is wrong with your website, anyone's website. So welcome to everyone who's joined us and who's going to look and follow us on the recording.
Right.
Now, our first one is about loading, and obviously that's the first contact that people have when they get to your website, is it takes forever to load. Now, the graphics that I'm presenting here are from Red Website Design. They are the infographic champions of the world. They're just awesome. So they put together this graphic, and which I broke up into 10 slides, and we're going to have a go through it and have a chat about it. So according to Kissmetrics, they say that 47%, so that's nearly half of consumers, expect a website to load in 2 seconds. That's like 1, 2, that's it. There's a 40% abandonment with websites that take longer than 3 whole seconds. And I suppose when I was reading this, what made me, if people are desperately want to see your stuff, they'll hang on for the 3 to 4, maybe even 5 seconds while it's loading. But does that change their mood? Does that change their attitude or their enthusiasm? Is their enthusiasm dampened by the fact it can take a whole 5 seconds for your website to load? Ways to avoid it is using low resolution images, and not so much that they look blurry or pixelated or quite horrible, because that's quite tacky, but with today's web development tools, that's not really an issue. Create easy to load banners. Avoid sliders, which are those images that just keep changing at the top of the website. Limit the number of plugins, especially pop-ups. And plugins, particularly with WordPress sites, are actually going on in the background, and they could actually be loading themselves and slowing down that whole process. Pop-ups are another plugin. They're the sorts of things that people say, oh, I love my website, please sign up here. And, of course, the number of ads. And ads are all interactive, so whether they're Google ads or your own, limit them. There we go. So that's the first one. People hate your website because it takes too long to load. So the next one is it optimised for mobile? Now, I think there's over 40% to 50% of people now are popping into websites on the phone or a tablet. And it always surprises me that a lot of websites are not set up for this. And it's quite frustrating. You know, you find you're trying to tip your phone one way, and you're trying to squeeze the text, and then you're reading along the line and you've got to move it over. It's a very patient person that troubles through that. So, but having said that, most website development tools automatically change your website for mobile. It's no longer an option. It used to be an option, but it's now it's automatic. However, if you're not sure, check your own website out on your phone. Ask to borrow somebody else's phone and tablets. Different makes and different models will show up quite differently. So that's just another reason why people really hate your website, is because it's just really difficult to read on their phone. Here we go. Now, our next one is number 3. It offers poor navigation. So once your poor visitors have got onto your website, they waited a whole 3 seconds and they can figure out where the thing is. The navigation is really about your menu and how people will move around your website. So you need to try to keep your menu simple. Again, test it on a mobile phone or a cell phone. Make your menu easy to find. This is not an issue I've had using WordPress, but it is using other website development tools. And also limiting your call to action. So don't have 3 or 4 call to actions. Just have the one. And we're going to discuss that a little bit later, so I won't go into it now. And, of course, limit or remove all the adverts. Some sites are set up for affiliate marketing, and that's great. But again, these things just they tend to push themselves forward, particularly if you're affiliating with some big companies. And your information will get delayed. And, again, the pop-ups are coming up. People don't know what to do. So it can be quite confusing. Now, don't forget to jump in and ask any questions or even tell me any experiences you've had.
I've just been leaving her on mute because I got a loud house here right now. So
That's okay.
you got people dyeing their hair and making dinner and everything else. So.
That's wonderful. Good on them.
Yeah. Okay, I will. This is great. Keep going.
So we've got the number 4, which is autoplay. This is my particular bugbear. I think it's really rude to go to someone's website and all of a sudden the video starts and you may not be ready. Once I was at a website and I went off to another website and I'd left it open in a tab and his voice started talking to me. I got the fright of my life. And then I couldn't figure out how to turn it off. And it was just like a door-to-door salesman that puts their foot in the door and you can't get rid of them. So please make sure that your videos or your podcasts don't begin automatically. Invite or point people to the fact that it's there and they can watch it. But our users are not really silly. They understand what a YouTube video box looks like. They also know most people know what a podcast graphic display looks like. They get that little red arrow down there is the play button. I don't think you need to tell people what to do and how to do it, but certainly invite them in the content that you're writing about. But yeah, good. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why people really hate your website, and they'll click away and they won't come back. Now, this is an old one, but a goodie. Number 5, keyword stuffing. So keywords are what search engines use to find you, to find what your website's about and match it when people put in a request or a question in their browser. So it was thought that you could just stuff keywords to death, but of course the search engines got wind of that and they now punish you for it. So write intelligently, use your keywords intelligently, write your posts, write your content, your page content as if you're addressing someone. And we looked at this in our last video. Think about that person that you are particularly writing for, your target audience. That's one particular person. Write for them. I mean, use keywords, but don't overdo them. Use synonyms instead. And if you're not sure, you can check this sort of stuff. But, just be intelligent. Write to your audience and leave the search engines to do their job properly. Now, we have number 6. Oh, typo.
I don't think I've heard that anywhere else.
What's that, sorry?
Those keywords, it's always like you got to do this, you got to do that, and even when I write something, then it gets rated before I post it, and I have to keep going back and adding words.
Oh, there is a science to it, but I look with the websites I've developed, and probably the easiest example I can give you is the My Puppy Club, which of course is about dogs and dog training. So within the first 2 paragraphs, I will probably mention dogs, puppy training, healthcare. I'll answer the question I put in the title, provide some more information, but I just keep it within a little nutshell. With my grandparenting blog, I will probably use the words grandchildren, grandkids, and grandparents, and maybe grandmother and grandfather, maybe not, within that first couple of paragraphs. But, people don't want to, they know when they're being sort of out like that. So you can test all this. You obviously can get down and do all the testing, but essentially if you're writing quite concisely as well. So, we've looked at creating blog posts around the 250 to 350 word mark. You're not going to have a great deal of time to waffle on. So your keywords, again, are quite essential, but you shouldn't overdo them. You can put them in the subheadings and things like that, and that will also count as well. And it looks much more professional too. Yeah. So I think this is number 6.
Thank you.
Oh, that's okay. I'm just thinking that's a whole nother presentation.
Yeah. SEO.
SEO, yeah. So this is another reason people hate your website, is because you can't type and your grammar is terrible. Now, everyone makes mistakes. Everyone makes typing errors. It's just worth double checking. I could do an entire presentation on how to edit. It's one of the things I teach to students, high school students. And one of the things that they really need to learn, and we all need to learn, is to edit while we write. In an ideal world, you'd write a blog post, put it away for a week, pick it up again, and edit it thoroughly. We don't really have those sort of time luxuries anymore. We need to post and get it out. But double check everything. If you're not sure about grammar or spelling, look it up or ask somebody who knows. There are really amazing websites available for grammar check and spelling and things like that. One of the things I have found as a non-US citizen, not citizen, but person, is that I will structure my blog posts according to my visitors. Now, I can check where they're coming from, and if they're coming from a country like the United States, I will change the spelling and the grammar to suit them. I'm Australian. We write with the UK model of grammar and spelling normally, but I will adjust it, and that's just, you guys in America probably don't need to do that, but it's just something I thought I'd add in there. I think another thing to avoid is slang words and idioms. I deal with students who have a non-English speaking background, and I find I have to be very careful about how I phrase certain things. In Australia, for example, we have a huge bedding store, a huge chain of stores called 40 Winks. And one of my students had no idea why a bedding company would be called 40 Winks. So it's not unusual for slang words and idioms to be quite provincial. So you probably need to avoid them at all costs, or you'll just confuse people. And they'll leave your website because it's bad and it's horrible. And it doesn't make sense. Okay. Now, number 7. This is one of my favourite things, rubbish fonts. And most people don't think twice about the font they use. They either go with whatever MS Word offers them. I love it here. It says, using Times New Roman. Really, it's really ugly. Still, it's better than Comic Sans. Fonts really matter. They matter as much as your images. They are extraordinarily important. They do say a lot about you. I don't know if it's about you being lazy, perhaps not realising the effect that fonts can have on the way your website looks. If you're not sure, go to your competitors, go to some of the top websites and have a look to see what they're using. You can search fonts, you can download new ones and use them. I find that, again, the ones they offer on WordPress are usually the best. But again, I would just double check. It's just something to keep in mind. It really is, yeah. I spend a lot of time with around graphics and fonts, and I'll often, roll my eyes and go cringe, a little bit of cringe when I see Comic Sans coming up. But again, it's usually because someone's used a less than perfect website development tool, or because, they're still stuck in the 1980s, 90s, maybe 2000s. So keep your eye on your fonts. Go and check them. Okay, so number 8, and then this is a personal hate I know of Bill and other people, is people really hate your website because there are too many Google ads. I don't know if I'm a little bit clumsy on my phone, and I have quite a big screen phone. I've got a Samsung Note thing, and I'll be looking at an ad, and I might want to click a hyperlink and find out more information that the person's telling me because I'm really fascinated. But sometimes I get a little bit frightened because if I do it too much one way or the other, I'll end up clicking on a Google ad. First problem with Google ads normally and other affiliate ads is that they don't allow you to open in a new website. So you might find that your visitors are leaving your website, and it's not good for your SEO. And also it's too distracting. What do you want people to do when they come to your website? You've got one thing. If you give them two or more things to do, they won't do anything at all. They'll just get confused or bored and they'll leave. Again, keep it simple. Create your ads and your call to action really simply. Put them in quite subtly. Decide what one thing you want your visitors to do, and they will love your website. They certainly won't hate it. So limit the amount of Google ads or just get rid of them. Again, this is another presentation on its own, but I'm just not a fan. I will see Google ads, and for me personally, I think it undermines the authority of the person who's created the website and their business. But that's just my personal preference. So here we go. We're rolling along quite nicely. Number 9, lack of contact information was the 9th reason why people hate your website. They can't reach you. And I have found this interesting when I've been doing my guest blogs, is because I will find a blog I like and think that I have something in common with it. And I will say, I'd love to write a guest post for this website. And then I can't find how to contact them. Having said that, it's not advisable to put your email or your phone number because you may end up getting lots of excessive spam messages and phone calls. I like the Jetpack plugin. It's free on WordPress, and you can pop in, you can adjust the contact information when you put in a contact form. Once you've got your contact form, I suggest that you test it, make sure it works. You should always respond to somebody if they do send you a message, even if it sounds a bit goofy or a bit strange. And you should delete or block all spam. That's something that most website developments will do automatically, but it's certainly worth checking. The same with your comments. We always allow people to comment on the on blog posts and blog pages. However, it's worth having a moderated first, because within the first few months of a website being set up, once it gets out of the sandbox and it starts getting noticed, you'll find you'll be flooded with spam messages from all sorts of undesirable folk. So it's a good idea to make sure you've got you moderate them before they go public. So that's the 9th reason why people really hate your website. So the last one, which I couldn't believe, and you'll laugh, those of you who know me, it doesn't have a blog. So I was like, who doesn't have a blog? So if you don't have a blog, you're really missing out. It is a laborious process, that's for sure, but it's a wonderful opportunity for you to showcase your knowledge, your experience, and your expertise. WordPress, of course, is blog focused, but I don't know any of the other major website development tools that are available that don't allow you to have a blog of some sort. It's your way of building trust. It's your way of showing people who you are and what your business is about. And, the tone you use, the images you use, how you format your blog posts are all essential for your SEO, but they're also incredibly important for your visitors. And, they might love your product. They might find it really interesting. They might desperately need it. But before they sign up to a newsletter or before they purchase anything, they are going to want to know who you are and what you're about. And this is why short, sharp, interesting, and relevant blog posts are just essential, So that's the 10th reasons why people really hate your website and what you can do about it. I've just clicked through to, this is the information presented here was from Red Website Design. It's a great little website. I really enjoy it, and I learn a lot from it too. So I highly recommend you give them a good look. And of course, if you need help making sure that people do love your website instead of hating it, then get onto billballoos.com, or you can come over to me at getonlinefast.net. So thank you to listening from my presentation. Are there any questions? Let's get my grammar right. Are there any questions? Any ideas? Any suggestions?
Was going to say, you just threw that together the last few days. That was good.
I threw it together in about an hour ago.
Or is this just what you do all day, every day? And it's just like, it's just like breathing. You just had to, organize it for a 10-point thing here. That was awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is what I do a lot of, and I do creating presentations. I do it for my students, and I do it for obviously for Bill Blue, and I've been doing it for quite some time. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm still intimidated by the whole thing, but I'm a student. I'm listening. That was wonderful. I appreciate that.
Well, good. That's good. Well, it has been recorded. Goodness. So you can go back. But it was just a topic that really caught my attention, and and I thought I've learned from it myself. So I think it's going to be useful for all sorts of people.
I think you could work it because it's a great idea. What do people hate about your website? I mean, it's counterintuitive, like everybody tells you how to build a website, but they don't tell you why people have lousy ones or why people hate them. So that was great.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And we all know how important it is to have a website and to get online. But yeah, a lot of the websites I see, particularly who are author websites, and authors don't have a lot of money, and some of them create the most atrocious websites, and I don't know if it's me just being oversensitive or I've just been in the business too long.
Yeah,
it's like stop it.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's nothing worse than white or yellow font on a black background. It's so...
I've seen it. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
It is.
Good stuff.
Yeah. And I can't remember how many trillions or billions and billions of websites are created every year. There's just more than I can count. And the competition is huge. So why make it more difficult than it needs to be? Yeah. I used to be big on sliders. I've spent hours creating images that fit perfectly into sliders so they glance across the website. And I've sort of taken a lot of those down, again, because they take too long to load, or they don't load as well as I would like on a mobile phone. And that's another interesting thing is, having your image and having text next to your image, and then you see it on a mobile phone and there's your image and there's like one line of words, and it looks untidy, it looks unprofessional. So I tend to sort of pop my images right in the middle of the page, so they're adjusted, and the mobile phone technology, it's quite brilliant, really adjusts it all.
Yes, I installed a plugin yesterday and I think it sped everything up. It was EWWW Image Optimizer.
Yes, I've seen that one. Yes, yeah.
And it was recommended to me by somebody who knew what they were doing. It reduces your file size for images within WordPress, so it seemed to speed everything up, but I don't know.
And that's going to be really important for you with your
image exactly.
Back. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I want to get the images up there. So
yeah, whereas I use images mainly for branding and connecting, because an image relays information 60,000 times quicker than words,
I saw you say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've said that before. Yeah. So it's really important to get them up and get them quick. And the other thing for someone like yourself who's selling images or promoting them is you don't want people being able to download them and copy them.
Right. Yeah. There's a way. I know there's a way to do all that stuff, but it's you want to display them at a low res and then sell them at a high res. So.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. But I think I know that you put a watermark or a signature on your images, and I think that, to be honest, I think there's so much of a movement now that everything online should be free, and you're battling a really, really difficult war trying to keep copyright and everything. And I mean, if somebody took one of my book covers and used it and created a wonderful meme and made a fortune out of it, and it got spread all over the world, I don't think I'd be that upset.
Yeah.
If they've used something of mine but somehow it's identified back to me, I think it might be a bad idea.
I've kind of had the same attitude. It's like it's not doing any good on my hard drive, just sitting there.
Yeah.
If I put it on Facebook and people share it, it's like it feeds back. It comes back. So
absolutely, yeah. And I think that there's an intelligent way of generously sharing things for that reason. And like you say, wow, you got all this.
That's a good way to put it. An intelligent way of sharing. That's right.
Yeah, so. That's right. Yeah, and like you say, not going to do much good on your hard drive. Yeah.
It doesn't do me any good. I just loaded 7 terabytes of photos, so that was a chore. Anyway, That's another subject.
That's amazing.
I'm being told that dinner's ready. I don't know if you're recording that, but
okay.
That was a wonderful presentation, Susan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you all for participating. She's looking for the